Welcome back to another video. So I feel like I owe everybody an official introduction and an official sight of one of my cars that I actually work on car. And there's a comment made of saying, man, I wish I would have had to walk around with the car. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my 1996 Honda Integra SiR-G. Hopefully this doesn't make anybody sick. I'm gonna be walking around just because I feel natural about walking around and talking to everybody. So a little introduction about my car. This is a 1996 Honda Integra SiR-G, or in the US we had got the GSR model. Exact same thing. It does come with a B18C with the P72 head. This one did not come with, unfortunately, with a 5-speed LSD. It does have a manual transmission, but it does not have the LSD. And I know this because I've actually changed the clutch on this car. It's owning it for 7 years. So when I first bought this car, I bought this car in Japan when I was stationed out there in Misawa, Japan. So if you don't know where Misawa, Japan is, very north of the mainland of Japan. Right above that will be Sapporo, which is another island. A really icy situation up there. They do the ice festivals and everything. Anyways, so I bought this car off a young individual that just wasn't able to sell it. And the reason he wasn't able to sell it is because in Japan, it's weird, it was a manual, and a lot of people that when they saw the car that it was a manual, they were not interested in the car. Hence why I got it, because he was really looking to get rid of it because he needed more space to carry friends and snowboard. And I got it, and I was just getting into Japan, and I really wanted an Integra because I just had left mine in the US and I wanted another one. There is some things I don't like about it, and we'll show you those things that I do not like about this car, but I will show you some things I love about this car and the uniqueness. So stay tuned. And is that it is a right-hand drive 5-speed Integra. The good thing about this, I've had it, I've updated some things like the center console that was not Type R, but I found one and the stereo's coming out. So that's one of the things I don't like, is the stereo doesn't sit in there right. I bought 2 kits, and this is like the second kit, and it's just, this garbage is the first one. Cluster is a Type R cluster. Had to take it apart and install some things to make it work, because this was out of a 98 and this is a 96. So some of the electronics in the back, and if you know about a panel like this is off an EK, just one I have, this is a spare. But the panel, so the 98 panel and the 96 panel are a lot different. So it was, some of the functions weren't working correctly, so I had to go in there and change some of the panels around. Some of the lights as well were a little different, so kind of Frankenstein one together. So just because I wanted some Type R touches. I love the Type R. Not claiming this is a Type R, not at one bit, but it does have some great upgrades, and let me continue showing those upgrades. Mini Cooper 280 millimeter or 11-inch front rotor. I also have the Acura Legends 2-puck or 2 pistons front calipers, and as well as Type R pads, because it fits this whole combination. So the brakes are big, that's why I barely have a little clearance right there, but it does fit within a 15-inch wheel. It does have some great braking power. This does have, I don't know if you can see it, but it does have steel braided lines. And on the back, this has the, I believe it's the 2001-2002 EP3 Civic Hatchback SI. Came in a 4x100, and the rotors actually work just on this as well. It gives it, I believe, a 10-inch rear rotor, and as well as Type R calipers. These were really hard and really expensive to get, but it gives you bigger brakes. So this does have a big brake system all around. It's a B18C with a P72 head, so that tells you this is a GSR motor. And as well, another way to tell is on the P72 GSR is that the Top water neck is on the front. B16s Type R's are in the back, so you know, another thing like that. Another great upgrade on this, it has one of those old school skunk to intake manifold. It's a great addition to this. It kind of threw me off the first time I saw pictures of this engine. I was like, oh, it's a Type R engine in it, but it's not. I also have a Type R. Mine is just a 3-inch arm, and as well as the intake that is a Canon. I need to clean it up and refresh it, but that's just a couple of more upgrades in the engine bay that I did. If you can see that off the clutch master cylinder, I did steel braided line all the way down to the clutch. It's awesome. It's responsive. Gives it a nice feel. The other one, a couple years ago, the rubber hose broke, so I just decided to go steel braided and have a great upgrade. If you didn't see our Hasport mounts, the only downside I don't like about Hasport mounts, it makes everything inside rattle. So to have a conversation with anybody is really hard to hear. I may go back to a harder rubber or go back to stock mounts, because some days it's great. It gives a great response. If you know about Hasport mounts, you know the response. But again, it's just one of those things. As I was editing this video, I forgot to mention it does have a header. It's I don't know the name on it. I know it's JASMA, which is a Japanese compliance, kind of like how California has their compliancy, and as well as a DC Sport full catback exhaust that I got. It originally came with an Apex N1, but it rusted out, so I got a new one. Those are some of the cool upgrades that my car has, and some of the things that I love about this car. It does come equipped with an awesome platform, awesome transmission, minus no LSD, so that's one thing I don't like. The thing is, this car, in my 7 years of ownership, I've done a lot of upgrades, like the brakes, the clutch line, the brake lines, some of the pieces in the interior. Now let's go into the things I do not like about this car. Let's go to the ugly. Rust patch right there. Rust patch on this fender. Keep going down. There is some rust in here. A lot of things are rusted, as you can tell throughout the engine bay. A big spot right here. It looks like they were trying to do some body work, but now it's just peeling. I kind of just leave it because I don't want to do any more damage. Rust up in the wheel well, pretty bad. Underneath is pretty bad, as you can tell. So bottom of the door, and the bottom of the doors are starting to rust too. I may need new doors or a new skin, but I'm thinking just new doors. Whoever painted this car originally did not do very good prep work, and it's starting to show. This car is originally the color I love, is a Milano red. Now if you look at like some of the very close up lines underneath seals and stuff like that, as you can tell right there, the red is coming out. I got a lot of clear coat failure on there, and there's some more spots. Like this is where a window squirter would have been. They changed the trunk lid to a Type R trunk lid because now it doesn't have the rear third brake light in its rear, and as well as no wiper. They do have a new newer bumper. So living in northern Japan, they don't plow the roads like how we do in the United States, and they also use a lot of salt to try to melt the snow. While I was in Japan, I did take this car in to a co-worker's shop, cool Japanese co-worker, and he allowed me to use his lift, and we took the whole bottom, as much rust as we possibly could, and then we undercoated it. After that, I lived in Germany for 4 years, and in Germany it snows and they use a ton of salt even before it starts snowing. It's just so the roads don't ice over. Great, but it's horrible on your cars. So it was a good thing while I was in Japan that I did the undercoating, but I think I need to redo it, take it down to bare metal and redo a lot of work underneath. It's not the greatest underneath. It's not as clean as I would like it, but I will make it clean one day. Another of the ugly things, the bottom of the hood, or the bumper, or long story short, I was at a stoplight in Japan, and this guy in front of me in a CR-V with the first generation CR-V, so with the rear tire on the back, decided to back up in the middle of the street at a red light. Honked my horn, didn't hear me, and he ended up putting the back tire into my hood. I did an insurance claim, and I'll insert the picture here. Insurance fixed it. They were able to source a brand new hood, a brand new bumper. So the bumper is pretty new, but they were not able to source a hood. And I told them I will be okay if they just used a used hood. So after the used hood, they painted it and filling, and excuse the reflection. All that's underneath the clear coat. I have buffed it, waxed it, and it does not come out. It may need a clean and buff, but one thing about this car, I do not, even though it's a nice color and it shines really good in the sun, hopefully you can see that. Here's some other stuff that's failing. Here's another thing that's failing. My lip, it is beat. I think that's just for driving. There's a nice run right there. The shop didn't do a great job. I mean, granted, it looked great when I got it. I was amazed by the work, but one thing I want to do to this car is go back to original. This color, I don't like this color at all. I want to go back to Milano red, and if I go back to Milano red and do a full color change, I want to take it down, take the rust off as much as possible. I do have some spare fenders that I want to change out. The wheel wells, that will be some work or some things I would need to find to get those complete and done right, but that is my car. Yeah, there's a lot of things I really still want to do to this. As you can tell, there are some good Type R goodies. There is some good upgrades as far as brakes. The seats in this as well are Recaro SR3 seats out of an Evo 3, I believe. They do have its wear. Let me show you. If you know anything about Recaros, they do fill right here, and they do fill out here. By coming in and out, the foam underneath this is clapped. I did some stitching because it's starting to spread a lot more, so I quickly did some stitching. It doesn't look the greatest. I know, it looks horrible. I'm not upholstery, so that was one of the things I want to redo is redo these seats. They are Recaros. I tried to use a fabric paint marker, and it doesn't look well, but it looks good from a distance. It's it's good from afar, but far from good. And the other things I want to do is figure out what I want to do with this engine. It is a good engine. It doesn't have any issues with it. I do have a spare, as you know, on my channel, or if you haven't seen this on my channel, I am building a Type R with a little bit of stroke crank, and as well as pistons that are higher, a lot higher compression than stock, and a cylinder head with a mile port and polish. And I want to throw in some more aggressive cams, have valve springs that I want to put into the head. So I have a lot of things that I want to do to this car. So with this, I wanted to introduce you to my car. Hopefully you enjoyed the walk around. Hopefully you like the little cinematic of introducing my car. And stick around and see what I do more to this car, see what comes more to this channel, and hopefully I can get some input from you guys. I know I have a lot of things that this car is kind of clapped out, but again, I love this car. There are a few things that I don't like, and as I pointed out, I'm not going everywhere. I may be a little scatterbrained, but I just wanted to get out there, introduce my car, and introduce what I'm working on. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, like, and if you want to come back for more, subscribe. And thank you for your time and watching this video, and all do. God bless.